This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, I'm Hilary Topper, and let me tell you a little bit about myself. So I'm the president and CEO of HJMT Public Relations. We're a public relations and social media marketing firm. We have been in business now on Long Island for almost 30 years, long time. And in addition to that, I have a media company where I have two blogs, NewYorkLifestyleBlog.com, and I also have a triathletesdiary.com, which is also a blog. New York Lifestyle Blog is about everything Long Island, New York, about travel, about food, fitness, everything. I put everything in there. And the A Triathlete's Diary is more of a specific niche for triathletes, but swimmers, runners, and cyclists can also benefit from it. And then I have a small business podcast called Hilary Topper On Air. And it's hilarytopperonair.com is the website. And it's basically for small business owners to grow both personally and professionally. In addition to that, I'm an adjunct professor at Hofstra. I've been there now for about 6 years. And I teach running on the weekends. I have a running group, and I also have a triathlon group. So I'm going to take you back. The year was 1979. It was the year that the Russians invaded Afghanistan. It was the year of disco. It was the year of uncertainty. Very much like it is today, except at that point, we weren't really sure what was going to happen, once the 1980s took place. So there were 3 high school students from Long Beach High, and I was one of them. And we saw an article in the New York Post, and the article basically talked about how Woody Allen was having a New Year's Eve party at the Harkness House in New York City. And since we loved all of his movies, we were like big Woody Allen fans back then with Annie Hall and Sleeper and all those amazing movies that he made, that when we saw this article, the 3 of us got really excited. So we called the Harkness House and we said, my parents are having a 25th anniversary party there. Would it be okay if we come and see the place? And the manager said, absolutely. So we went down to the Harkness House in New York City, and when we were there, the manager showed us around to all the different rooms. He showed us the kitchen. He showed us the gym downstairs. There was a shower room and all that. Anyway, that December 31st, 1979, 3 teenagers from Long Beach High School got dressed up as caterers. We had our clothes under tinfoil, and we walked into the Harkness House in New York City, and we crashed Woody Allen's New Year's Eve party. We stayed in the shower room for several hours, and then we got changed. We went upstairs and we met and mingled with Mick Jagger, with Robin Williams, with Karen Kane, with Mia Farrow, with Diane Keaton. I mean, all the famous celebrities of the time. So after that, midnight happens. We toast, celebrate the new decade, and we decided to leave. So we went downstairs. I gave Woody Allen a kiss on the cheek and said, thank you, Mr. Allen, for inviting us to your party. And I went back to my boyfriend at the time, who is now my husband, his apartment, and I called all the media, including the New York Post. And we were on the cover of the New York Post. Teens crash Woody's bash that next day. And that's when I had my aha moment that I wanted to go into PR, because if I could do this for myself, I could do this for other people, right? So that's so several years later. I mean, I worked at some big PR firms in the city, Ogilvy and Mather. I worked at Hill Holliday. I worked at Reuter Finn, and I also worked in the nonprofit sector for many, many years. And then started my business in 1992. From there, we expanded and we continuously grew. I mean, it was first a home-based business, and then it grew. We moved into Long Beach, and then we moved to Westbury and Melville and et cetera. And at that time, I guess it was in 2008, we were, at the top of the game, right? Like, I had 25 people working for me. It was crazy. We had lots of clients, lots of action. And then 2008 came, boom, stock market crashed, and the business kind of took a dip. And at that time, I guess it was before that, like in 2006, I started to get into social media. A lot of my staff were just out of college, and so they had Facebook, and my son actually got me on Facebook as a joke because his older sister, my daughter, was on Facebook, and he wanted her to think that I was spying on her. So I actually, I got on Facebook really early on in like 2006, 2007. And at that point, I realized that social media marketing was something that we all need to get involved in, especially for new business, small businesses. So I wrote a book in 2009 called Everything You Ever Wanted to Know About Social Media But Were Afraid to Ask. And this book was specifically about social media. It was about Facebook and Twitter, but it was also about Plurk and Foursquare and all these sites that no longer exist. And for years, I kept thinking, I'm going to rewrite this book. I'm going to rewrite this book. Anyway, it took me 10 years, but the real inspiration came when I started teaching at Hofstra. I teach this class called Digital Communications. And what I do is I basically ask the students to come up with a brand. And from that brand, we build an integrated marketing plan. And in that integrated marketing plan, we determine our goals, objectives, strategies, and then we have an implementation strategies, like, which would include social media marketing. And I go through all the sites. So in the book that I wrote, Branding in a Digital World, it goes through the whole entire course. It's like a do-it-yourself type of book that any small business owner or somebody who wants to change careers could pick up the book and be able to like do it themselves just by reading the book and figuring it out. Today, I'm going to talk about the book and an abbreviated version of how to build this integrated marketing plan for your business or for yourself or for your brand. So basically what I do is I ask people, okay, who are you? What is it that you're passionate about? What is it that you love? And some students and some clients will tell me different things. Students will say, I love Disney. I want to get a job at Disney. Okay, so if you want to get a job at Disney, how are you going to go about doing that, right? What's going to set you apart from everybody else who wants to work at Disney, right? So what I tell them to do is I tell them to write things down. Write down the brand that you want to, that you love. And I'm going to ask you guys, if that's okay, what your brands are, if you could share that with me. And if not, that's okay too. I'm curious.
Hi.
Hi.
My company, I invented chocolate party candles. I have a patent on it where you light it up and eat the whole thing and you sing happy birthday. So we call them Yum Wick because they're yummy all the way to the wick. And So that's what I'm doing right now.
Awesome. Okay,
Thank-
so you've got candles and I don't know, I can't see names or anything. Let's see.
Tara.
Tara. Okay, nice to meet you, Tara.
Hi.
And who else is on this call? Hi,
Hi, I'm Mark. How are you?
nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. I started a small audio video company. I worked for a larger firm, a larger company, and my website just went live just as everything started to shut down. And I'm trying to
Doesn't
reinvent.
that always happen?
Yeah, and it's, I rely, my business relies upon groups getting together and, corporate audio video is basically what it is. And right now, it's just not going to be happening for the unforeseen future. So I'm trying to just brand myself and get my name out there. And it's not going to be easy. So I'm here to learn what I can learn right now.
Okay, cool. Awesome. So with your brand, your brand, you are the brand, right? And the brand is your image. You're going to figure out your mission, your values, and your vision for your brand. For me, my brand really revolves around fitness, health, lifestyle, travel, so I kind of group that together, and that's my brand. So everything that I do with my blogs and my podcasts is part of my brand. So the way to go about this when you're starting a business or when you're trying to reinvent yourself, maybe you want to get a new job or what have you, is to put it down in writing. How it always, it's interesting how when you join like a Weight Watchers or one of these like weight loss type of companies, they always tell you to write down everything that you eat, right? And we do that. Or if you are tracking your fitness, you write down, or you keep it on a log, or you have it on the computer, or you have it on your watch. So you're logging everything. But when it comes to business, we tend not to do this. We just jump in. We just jump in and go for it, as opposed to kind of taking a step back and figuring out what our goals are. So what I'd like you to do is try to figure out what your goals are. What is it that you want to accomplish? Do you want to get more visitors to your site? Do you want to get more X amount of clients per year? Do you want to get more listeners to your podcast? Whatever it is that you want to write that down in your goal, right? And your strategy would be your overall, like how are you going to do your goal? How are you going to make your goal happen, right? So that's what your strategy would be, your overall strategy. And within that strategy, you should also think about your logo and the colors that you're going to use and how to make it consistent. For example, you look at the Nike logo, the swoosh logo, and if you see that logo wherever you are, that's Nike, right? That's what you want for your brand. You want people to see something and it just says edible candles or audio visual or whatever, it just says it, right? So that's important. And there are different colors mean different things. You can find what colors mean on the internet. I have it in the book as well, but that's an important thing. The other thing that I think is really important that you should include in your integrated marketing plan is your SWOT analysis. A SWOT analysis is strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So when you're starting or you're trying to grow a business or you're even trying to get a job, a SWOT analysis is a really good tool to use. So for example, your strengths, that might be, special expertise or reputation or cost or some type of advantage that you have over your competition. Your weakness would be, maybe a limited service line or marketing deficiency, or you're having staffing problems, which happens quite often. Opportunities, there might be some new technology or new markets or services that you can offer, especially like now during COVID. Everybody's kind of turning everything around to see, okay, now that COVID's here, let's try to change it around so that we could use that to our advantage. And I'll give you an example of that. I work with a catering company here on Long Island, and they thought that they were going to go out of business when this happened because they mostly cater to the big corporations, like all the hospitals and big corporations around the city. And now people weren't getting together in groups. So now what? They're a catering company, or they were catering weddings or parties or, that type of thing. There were no parties, nothing was happening. So I said to them, you know what? Take a step back and think about what need you can fill. And one of the things that I had suggested to them was to stock people's refrigerators, because people don't want to go to the supermarket, right? So it's like it's turning things around to make it so that you don't go out of business and you could still fulfill a need. And then your threats are, new or increased competition. Maybe there's a change in insurance plan. Maybe there's, just slowdowns or the government or, like for me, when I opened an office in Long Beach, I had so many issues with permits and signage, and I had to pay for signage. It was kind of ridiculous. But those were some of the threats that I had, like that could really bankrupt me, all the fees that I had to pay just to have a storefront.
Yeah.
So the other thing that is really, and this is probably the most important, most critical part of this integrated marketing plan, is developing your buyer persona, right? So you want to take a buyer persona and you want to figure out exactly who your audience is, okay? So you want to even paint a picture of what the person looks like. So I'll give you an example. For me, I've got two buyers for my public relations firm. One, his name is Bob, right? Bob is a 65-year-old business owner. He has a staff, but limited. He's got about, maybe $4 to $15 million in gross revenues, and he plays a lot of golf. He's, so I'm like painting this picture of Bob, right? I'm starting to know who he is, how old he is, what his demographics are, what he likes to do, what his frustrations are, that type of thing. And then there's Betty. Betty's my marketing director. She's 45 years old. She's foodie. She may be into fitness like me. She's in marketing, that type of thing. And I really narrow that down to the point where I know exactly who these people are, so that now I can go after them and I can market to them. Going back to my class at Hofstra, a young man, he wanted a job at Delta Airlines. So I said to him, find out who the person is who is hiring at Delta Airlines. And you can easily find out who the HR people are. So he did his homework and he researched and he painted a picture of the person and what she looked like and what her likes were. And he did some research and now he was able to market to her. Makes sense?
Yeah, that helps a lot. What if you're branding yourself? Like, I already have the logo. I've already had a soft launch, and I see that it's actually for a bigger company than myself, because for me to, like, I had a small commercial kitchen, and people asked for it to be kosher, so we made it kosher. We got a rabbi to come in, we got Department of Health to come in, everything. And the orders were, because they're celebratory candles, they're like parties, weddings, bar mitzvahs, and things like that. We couldn't keep up once we got into magazines and things like that. So I actually don't want to manufacture them anymore. I actually want to sell it to a company. But what I did was I took a break since I relocated, and in that time, someone who didn't have a completely edible candle because they couldn't go past my patent, they actually have a chocolate candle with the actual candle in it. And they filled the void of what I did while I took the relocation break. So what I'm doing now is I'm trying to go on social media and say, remember when? So since it's the pandemic, it's the perfect time. I'm showing like the 100-year-old birthday that I did for this woman. I'm showing the weddings, the magazine feature, things like that, so that people will remember, remember us. And the biggest issue I'm having now is because my customers are no longer, like necessarily following me. So I have to go through this whole hashtag thing. And I'm trying to figure it out, because apparently you're not supposed to get a hashtag with too many posts because you drown, and you're supposed to not get them with too little posts because no one will look at it.
Well,
I don't know. Can you explain it?
Depends. Yeah. Well, let's hold that question, okay, for when we get into social media.
Okay.
Let's go back. We'll circle back to that. You had a
Can I
question?
just ask a question about this? This page that we're looking at,
This is
what-
the buyer persona.
bio persona,
Buyer
is this
persona.
who we're marketing to?
Exactly.
Okay.
So, so once you know who you're marketing to, it's easy to put together your implementation strategy. And that's where the tactics come in.
Okay.
So there are several different tactics. There's blogging, social media, SEO, email marketing, remarketing, Facebook adverts, Google AdWords, press releases, etc. The list goes on. And now with the social media. So once you know who your buyer persona is, you know where to go on social media. Each social media site has specific demographics for a particular audience. Facebook now is for an older person, people in their 50s, some maybe late 40s, 50s, 60s. This is Facebook, right? It's all the younger people. They have a profile on Facebook, but they don't use it. More of the younger people are either on Twitter, or they could be on Pinterest, they could be on TikTok. So you have to figure out where it is that you want to live. Where is it that you want to put all of your eggs? Some people just want to live on LinkedIn because that's where their consumers are. That's where their buyers are. I personally have not had the best luck in LinkedIn. I feel like it was funny because the other day I've got like 5,000 contacts on LinkedIn. And I would say 90% of the contacts that I have on LinkedIn are all competitors. So it's like, I don't know what I'm doing here with this. But I find that I've done a lot of business on Facebook, believe it or not, a PR firm. So in terms of hashtags, I use Instagram a lot, and maybe that might be the place for you, you know, to be, you know, I'm not 100% sure because I'm not exactly sure about your target market, but I would think that that would be a good place. And there you can use up to 30 hashtags and it's fine. Facebook, maybe 1 or 2 max. Twitter, maybe 1 or 2 max. Same thing with LinkedIn. I think Instagram is really the only one that you can use up to 30 hashtags, and it's okay and it's good. When I go on TikTok, and sometimes I'm marketing to younger people as well, and I'll use maybe 2 or 3 on TikTok, you know, but Instagram, I look and I do the research. You know, if you go on Instagram and you type in a particular hashtag, it'll tell you how many people are following that hashtag. And that's huge, because if they are the right buyers, that could be a win.
So Hillary, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
When I developed my website, when I did the Squarespace version of it, and I had a mentor kind of help me, and I'm right now I'm only using LinkedIn. Is basically it's like my virtual resume. It
Okay.
just shows my work history, so it's just a link on my website that somebody can go and like look. So from what you're saying, I should, you know, like as far as creating like a Facebook page just to get something started would be a way
Yeah,
to go.
I mean, I think that, you know, what you're doing is you're looking for people who will have parties, right? And want to spend money. You're on mute. I can't hear you.
Sorry. It's more like focusing on corporate America, smaller, probably on the smaller side of businesses that are, you know, having like learning days or, you know, things like that.
So it might be like a marketing director from a big company or something. Would they be hiring you?
I mean, I've worked for, I've done jobs, you know, audio video jobs for pharmaceutical companies where we're like, they're in like a conference room, but we're also sending out via WebEx or other similar platforms, sending it out, you know, to other, you know, other locations where they can't all, you know, they're not flying everybody in and putting them up, that type of thing. So, and even though I don't have images or anything to put on Facebook yet, I'm just getting myself off the ground here.
Well, the other thing is, if you want images, there's a couple of free sites that you can use. I use Pixabay. It's Pixabay,
Right. No,
I think. Yeah.
I'm familiar. I don't want to, I'm not trying to advertise, like on my website, I've used Unsplash and everything for some of the, you know, some imagery. I just don't want to put anything false on there. So I can have a Facebook page, you know, and then I can have people like it. I can have a bunch of people like it, and you know, I'm just trying to get like I'm at ground floor trying to get myself
The
up and running.
problem with Facebook and having a Facebook page for your business is that the way Facebook works is they want you to advertise. So if you have 1,000 people who like your page, maybe 10%, maybe will see a post unless you boost it. So how do you get around that? Well, that's why for me, on my page, on my personal page, my Hilary Topper page on Facebook, personal page, I ran myself through that page. So that's how I get around it. I mean, I do have a page for HJMT, but nobody sees my stuff. I also have groups on Facebook, which I find very, very valuable.
So you basically advertise yourself through your personal page
Yep.
by saying, "Hey guys, here I am. I
Yep.
started a business, blah, blah,
Yep.
blah."
Yeah. So what I'll do, but I don't do it every single post. I'm very careful about how much I post about my business and I splash in a little personal stuff as well. So my personal stuff may be, oh, it was so great having my kids with me this weekend for Father's Day. And then my next post will say, I'm speaking at the Port Jefferson Library Tuesday night. If anybody's in Port Jefferson, just, jump on or something like that. Or I'll say, I was thinking about my book launch and it was such a great celebration. We had it at the book review in Huntington. Or something, and then I'll link it back to the book or to the Amazon page or to my website, you know what I'm saying? So I try to be very transparent and I try to tell a story, but I try not to be salesy when I'm doing this. Yeah, it's kind of like a balance that you have to do. There are some people on Facebook where I have this one of my friends. She was actually on. I spoke to the West Islip Library last night, and she was actually on that call. And she's got a business where she helps people lose weight, and she does a lot of posts, and I think that it gets to the point where people will either shut you off if you're posting too much. So there's got to be a happy medium between the two and what's the most important thing for you. But I think if you share some personal stuff along with business stuff, that mix is a good strategy. It's been working for me, and I've been doing that on all of my sites.
Okay, perfect.
So
Thank
you
you.
do it on your personal site and your business site?
My business site, I don't post as much as my personal site.
Okay.
The problem is that the business site, you don't get, unless you put money in for advertising, people aren't going to see it.
Okay.
That's the issue. So it's like you're posting, but nobody's seeing it because you're not putting any money into advertising. Because that's the way Facebook works.
Okay.
So then there's, other things. There's other ways to build your business. And one of the things that you may consider doing on your integrated marketing plan is, should you target bloggers or influencers? Okay, well, let's talk about what the advantages are. So with bloggers, it's great to have a blogger write about your business because it helps your SEO. It helps your search engine optimization because they're going to give you a link back. So I get bombarded by PR firms constantly that are trying to sell me, their clients' businesses. Maybe it's a new shoe company and they want me to review it on my blog, or today I got something from a company that makes these very, very high-end travel videos. And so I said, you know what, I do so much about travel on my blog. I'll review that for my blog. And, so that's the type. But so they know, these PR firms know that bloggers are really important because people read and listen to what they say. And then there's influencers, and that's been like the big buzzword lately, where people either hire just a normal everyday person who has a lot of followers on social media to do something for them or to post for them and get their community to see, you know, what you're doing. Now, there are different types of influencers. There's nano influencers. Those are people who have less than 1,000 followers. Most of these influencers are on Instagram today. Most of them are, you know, from Instagram. I mean, there's a couple from on TikTok and some of the other sites, Pinterest. I mean, they do have them on the different sites, but Instagram is the one that most people or most PR firms are looking for. So, you know, there may be somebody who is in line with your brand. You know, you may have a partnership with somebody, you know, and they can help you promote the brand on their sites. Then there's brand ambassadors, and those are people who are not hired. Influencers mostly get paid, but the brand ambassadors don't get paid. And those are the people who love your product and they just want to promote your product because they love your product. For example, I'm a brand ambassador for Belega socks. I love these socks. These like I trained for the New York City Marathon in 2016, and every single toe on my foot was covered in blisters. It was a disaster. I put on these socks. I have not, knock wood, gotten a blister at all, and I've been running since then, right? So it's 4 years later, and I'm still running, and I'm with Belega socks, and I haven't gotten any blisters. So I love these socks, and there are like a whole group of people who love these socks and just will post on Instagram, yo, look at the socks I'm wearing. I'm wearing Belegas, and they tag Belega, you know. So there's different programs. And again, like in the book, I talk about like even setting up a program for a brand ambassador, like what you can do and how you can structure it, you know, so that's another thing. The other thing that you may consider doing is podcasting, and that's been like huge lately, right? So you may want to do it in your niche, you know, maybe it's an AV podcast, or, you know, a dessert podcast, or, you know, mine is small business podcast. And I also get a lot of triathlon or triathlon related companies on my podcast, because I try to do it to help a small business owner grow both personally and professionally, so it all ties together.
How did you get started with your blog and with the podcast? Like, as far as like, how did you get started and how did you get listeners?
So I started blogging, my first blog, New York Lifestyle blog, in 2008. So it was really early on. I really wasn't sure what to write about, and then it just kind of came up, you know, with different lifestyle blogs, and now people pitch me for all three of them. The podcast I started in 2011. And what happened was I started it on a podcasting platform called Blog Talk Radio, which you could do for free, but the free version isn't as robust as the paid version. So I would pay for it. And what happened was it does everything for you. I mean, if you can check it out, you know, if you want, I would, you know, write it down, blogtalkradio.com. And it does everything for you. It records for you. It'll broadcast it for you, and then it'll aggregate it out to all the different, you know, sites like iTunes and that type of thing. But I realized into it, I guess about a year, maybe about a year ago, I realized that Blog Talk Radio wasn't the greatest place for me. One, because it's like Blogger. Google has a platform called Blogger, which is, you can blog on it, but Google owns the content, right? The same thing with Blog Talk Radio. Blog Talk Radio owns the content. I realized that many years later, and that became an issue. So I decided to go off of Blog Talk Radio and start a new one. And then what I did was I developed a website, and I started using a hosting platform called Libsyn. And I record my podcast through Zoom. I download it onto my desktop, upload it onto iMovie, and then edit it, and then upload it into my website. And it automatically, with the Libsyn app, it automatically aggregates to Libsyn. Libsyn then shares it to SoundCloud, Mixcloud, Amazon Alexa, iTunes, Google Play, all the different networks out there. So that's how I build up my audience through that.
Okay.
It's a little complicated.
It's a little bit.
A little bit, right? And then the other thing to put on your integrated marketing plan, or consider putting on your integrated marketing plan, would be PR and publicity. If you have a business, sometimes it's an interesting business that could gain or garnish, some PR, then go for it. And, that's a great way, especially online, because you can link it to your, then you can share it on social. It gives you another opportunity to get the word out about yourself and your business.
But do you think what I'm doing is a smart move as far as trying to put it out there, but yet not selling it? Like, I'm not trying to sell them, manufacture them anymore. I'm trying to license the idea and sell it to a larger company. But I just want the company to see that there are followers, there are people who like it, so that's why I kind of put it out there.
So it may make sense for you, for your integrated marketing plan, to look at the people who might buy this. And maybe those are the people that you need to market to. I mean, think about that. Think about like how you would do that.
But then
I don't know, maybe it's it could be like, there's a company on Long Island that called Love and Quiches. They do desserts. That might be a good company that might want to buy your candles.
Right.
They're pretty big. I mean, they're an international business, and I think they're right in Freeport. I used to do work for them, so that's how I know them. But they, but like a firm, like a company like that, they sell to the cheesecake factories and different places like that. They do all desserts. That could be a potential. So if you wanted to, say, market to them or to a company like that, then try to think about who it is. Would it be the CEO of that company that you would need to hear from you? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, take it to that next step.
Okay. Thank you.
The other thing on your integrated marketing plan would be direct mail and email marketing. And today, I mean, I use emails all the time still, even though they do get bombarded. Everybody gets bombarded with emails, and a lot of people drop off my list, which I always get sad about. But the other thing that it's important to note is that direct mail has picked up resurgent with all of this lately because there's so much online. So nobody's getting physical mail anymore. Like, for example, what did you get in your mailbox today?
Lots of stuff.
You did? You got lots of stuff? I get like nothing. I get like a flyer. I get nothing.
Yeah, get a lot of junk mail. A lot of mail.
Right.
Yeah.
So it could or could not, it could be part of your marketing plan that it may work for you. Some people it works really well for today.
That place you said was called Loving Quiches?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
There's
Maybe just to get advice, like.
Yeah, they're a new owner there, so I'm not sure who owns it anymore. I knew the old owners and they had sold it.
Oh, okay.
Then there's photography, right? So the thing about photography, which is really important in terms of social media, is that the photos need to be great. You know, otherwise you're not going to get any likes. Nobody's going to comment. You're not going to get the engagement that you want. I do want to mention one more thing about social media in terms, and not only about the photography, but also about the content. I really feel very strongly that the content needs to be written like a story. I find that I get so much more engagement when I tell a story on social media than when I just put up a picture and say, you know, check out my blog.
Okay.
Some people also use
I'm
content.
sorry, I have one question about
Sure.
that. So you went from photography, you're talking about photography on social media?
Yes.
Okay, and then we started talking about content. So you're talking about
Content on social media.
content on social media. So some people post these things like it's like these really long posts that you're just like,
Yeah.
okay, you know,
Some
well,
of them,
you know,
yeah.
people
No.
don't have like a lot of time. Is what I'm told when I was doing the website. People said like, you got to get to the point. You got to get to the point. You can't tell this like long thing. So it's got to be. You have to be able to compress it and evoke some kind of emotion, I believe. So like when you say a post, would you go give it a word count, or would you, you know, like a paragraph type of thing?
Yeah, I would do a paragraph. I mean, some people write a book, and that doesn't belong on social. That's a blog. There was a woman, she wrote such a poignant piece on Facebook. You know, it gets me like emotional because it was really, sorry. It was an emotional piece that she wrote on Facebook. And it was like a book. And she talks about, she's biracial, and she's talking about her family and growing up and how the kids used to make fun of her and all this kind of stuff. You know, it was an amazing, she was really so well written. And I reached out to her and I said to her, look, I said, her name is Doc. I said, Doc, would you mind if I posted this on my blog? Because this is great and people need to know, you know, about this. And she was more than happy to do that. And I, you know, I posted it on my blog, and, you know, and I got some really good feedback from it. But something like that, you know, I guess you could put it on Facebook, but it's more of a blog. I feel like some people go on and on about, like, they'll tell a story and it's such a long post. It's just nobody wants to just sit there and read it. Although this one was just, I was crying. It was so well written, and it was just a wonderful story. So anyway.
The photography that you're talking about on the social media sites, does it necessarily, is it business related, or is it just, it's more I mean, I happen to be a photographer, so it's just, I have the eye and whatnot for composing a picture, but is that
Well,
for
if
just,
you're doing it for your business, for your AV business, it may be like pictures of cameras or equipment, but doing it in such a way, like I've got this this photographer that I know who he's been doing a lot of black and white pictures of people in the city, and it's just it's really well done. You can do something where you don't have to do people, you could do objects that are part of your brand, right? That's done in a very creative, clever type of way. I mean, you could do that, or you can put picture, people. I mean, as a photographer, if you're a photographer, I'm sure you have a great eye for, for what looks good and what people would like. And the better the photo, the more people will like it, especially on Instagram. That's the place to do it.
all right. That man's name wouldn't happen to be Wayne, would it? The photographer,
I'm sorry, what is his name?
Wayne?
No, Bob. His
Okay,
name
I
is
happen to
Bob.
know, I happen to know a Wayne he was in TV, and he happened to be a photographer as well, and a lot of his black blew my doors off. Yes. All right, thank you.
No worries. So the other thing that you may consider doing, and maybe or maybe not, I mean, it might not be relevant for your business, but it may be relevant for other people's business, is to have an experiential marketing program, where you have something just different and interesting that is in person or on Zoom, or, right now we have to kind of think about COVID and what's going to be safe. So, this may or may not work for you. The other thing, lastly, is the wearable technology and IoT. I mean, so with wearables so prevalent today, I mean, everybody's got a wearable watch. I mean, almost everybody. Everything's connected. The house is connected. Everything's connected, even with Amazon Alexa, right? So when we're preparing an integrated marketing plan, it's important for us to think about ways in which we could use technology to get the word out about our business. I'm an original Google Glass Explorer, so I use Google Glass for my business, and we came up with Glasslandia, which is a Google Glass reality show on YouTube. We had like over 40,000 views on it, so, but it really was a very, it was definitely worth us doing for the agency. People really took note of it. And then finally, you want to have your return on investment. What is it that you need to do in order to accomplish your goals? So if your goal is to sell your business, right, then your ROI is that you sold your business and that you accomplish your goals.
Okay.
And that's it for this presentation. I have my contact information here. And if you want to pick up the book, I have it on my website. It's $20, or you can get it on Amazon. But it really does walk you through exactly what I talked about, but it kind of goes into some case studies and stuff like that that I know you will find useful. I even have an integrated marketing plan that you could, at the end of the book, it says last but not least, and it actually shows you how to prepare this marketing plan for your business.
Okay. Sounds good.
Thanks so much, Hilary. Great presentation.
Thank you.
So if you guys, want to follow me, or if you shoot me an email, I feel bad. It's only the two of you. I'm giving away a book. You know, I guess if you guys send me your email, I could just shoot you out a copy of the book. It's fine. There's only
Okay.
two of you. It's fine.
We got an
Okay.
exclusive one-on-one with Hilary tonight, so that's
You got
nice.
exclusive with me, right? Exactly. So I'll give you both. You see that? Because you showed up, you get a copy of my book. And you can shoot me an email at Hilary@HJMT. It's Hilary with one L, and just give me your address, and I'll send it out when I'm in the office next.
Sounds good.
Well,
Thank you.
If you
Hilary,
want me
if I
to
can ask
send,
you a question. Do you find it better to have an email address that links immediately, like to the domain, as opposed to something separate?
oh, like a Gmail you're talking about?
Yeah, like right now I have, my company name, I have my company, and then I kind of like abbreviated it just to have an email address.
Is
You
it a
feel it's
Gmail?
more- Yeah, it's at Gmail, but it's instead of at my company
fine.
name.
Don't
No,
even, seriously, save yourself the money.
yeah, that's because it just becomes like another, I forgot however much they wanted per
It's
year.
another big expense. I mean, I think I spend, I don't know, $75 a month or something on emails. It's like, I should do what you're doing.
Well, what? I mean, when it comes to the email marketing, you think it makes a big difference, or it doesn't really matter where it's
Doesn't matter.
coming from?
No, because when you're doing email marketing, you use the service like MailChimp or Constant Contact or Target Marketing, and you're gonna have to pay them anyway.
Right.
Yeah, we use at the library, we use Robly, and we found it to be about half the amount of money as Constant Contact. And I think we're allowed up to like 10,000,
Wow.
users that we can have on it. And it's pretty affordable. We pay for the year. And that's where we get most of our traction for a lot of the stuff we do. So it's really worth it for us.
What is
Yeah.
it called? Robly?
It's called Robly, ROBLY. And they have this really cool service where it's called OpenGen. So if somebody gets the email and they don't open it, what you can do is it resends a day or two later with a different tagline. So I'll always like set two of them, and it basically doubles your email increase open rate. And since the COVID closing and everything, we've had ours has increased we used to get about 25 to 30%, and we've had almost a 50% open rate with Robly. That's how people are finding out about everything we're doing. So we send about 3 to 4 a week, and it's really easy to use. It's really, really user friendly. So I would recommend it.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Hilary, you said your email you said Hilary T?
No, it's just Hilary,
Oh, Hilary at HGMT?
HJMT.
JMT.
Yeah, I really should put it here.
No.
Like a whole thing with all my, I have my Twitter, I have my Facebook, Instagram. I think if you even email, just do a Google search, you'll see me. I think my
Okay.
email comes up.
Terrific.
Yeah.
Well,
Thank you so much.
Yeah, it was nice
This is
meeting you
actually-
both. Good
Nice
luck
meeting
to
you
you
too.
both.
We enjoyed it.
And thank you so
Believe it
much
or
for
not,
having me.
I
at the
just want to give you a
library.
little bit of
Thank
compliment
you.
here.
Bye-bye.
Score's been doing like these webinars, doing a little bit like this. I got more out of this than I did over the past like 3 webinars that I've done with them.
Oh, yay.
They're wrong.
Thank you for the
That's
feedback.
awesome.
No, that's, I'm glad. It was like very cool. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Good luck to you. I hope it works out.
Thank you again. Take care.